Come in, Mrs. Hudson.
A gentleman to see you, Mr. Holmes.
It's me, Mr. Holmes. Edward Bardsley.
Ah, Mr. Bardsley. Come right in. Thank you, Mrs. Hudson.
Well, Mr. Holmes, I've been undone. Completely undone.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sit down and tell us.
Oh, I'll stand, if you don't mind. Mr. Holmes, I've lost the treasure. And my wife.
Good heavens, man. What are you saying?
I found the hiding place, but there was no gold.
What a pity.
But that's not the worst of it. When I got back home from the Isle of Wight, I found my wife had packed up and left me.
And gone off with Frank Holder.
Where did you hear that?
I didn't hear it. I saw it coming. At dinner that night, as the two of you talked, your wife kept glancing at him, not out of curiosity, as one would do with a stranger, but with affection. She already knew him and loved him. The signs were unmistakable.
But why would she betray me for a cripple in a wheelchair?
He only used the wheelchair to appear vulnerable, but the soles of his shoes were scuffed while the tires of the wheelchair weren't. And you said your wife was the one who discovered the map. But before she told you of her discovery, I think it was she who found the map, tore the piece from it, and later gave it to Frank Holder so he could sell it back to you.
Well, I'm a fool, then. Not the first time. She was my third, you know. I've had 2 wives before her and couldn't keep them.
Watson and I enjoyed your hospitality, and I'm sorry I couldn't save your marriage or your treasure. So I'm returning this.
What's this?
The check you wrote me. I didn't earn it, so I didn't cash it.
No, we had an agreement. It's yours.
Take it, I insist. And may better times lie ahead. Farewell, Mr. Bardsley.
You never told me.
Told you what?
Why didn't you tell me your suspicions while we were still at Bardsley's?
Because, Watson, your face is an open book anyone can read, and it wasn't for us to meddle in what is sickeningly referred to as affairs of the heart. Oh, don't be offended, Watson. Your complete lack of guile is one of your greatest assets.
The Bardsley Triangle was written and directed by Jim French and featured John Patrick Lowry as Sherlock Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson, with Lee Parsh as Mrs. Hudson. Bardsley was played by Mike McLaughlin. I played Frank Holder, and Caitlin Finney was Olivia. The characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and are used in this program by special arrangement with the estate of Dame Jean Conan Doyle. Sound effects were created by Cheryl Jacobs and David Person, and the engineer was Jason Shavey. This is Dennis Bateman speaking.
And this is Dr. John H. Watson. I've had many more adventures with Sherlock Holmes, and I'll tell you another one when next we meet.
The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, with John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson.
My name is Dr. John H. Watson, and it is my great pleasure to recount another adventure I had with my friend and colleague, Sherlock Holmes. It was the winter of 1884. It had been some time since he'd had a case to occupy his mind, and the cold, rainy weather compounded his frustration. I, on the other hand, welcomed the opportunity to catch up on my reading. I was settled by the fire, perusing an article in the latest issue of The Lancet, when Holmes picked up his Stradivarius and started playing it, loudly. When he wanted to, Holmes could play rather expertly, but on this occasion it interrupted my concentration. I bore it for a while, but then... I say, Holmes. Holmes.
What do you want? I'm playing.
And I'm trying to read a medical article.
Go right ahead. Doesn't bother me a bit.
But I can't concentrate, at least not the way you're playing.
And what is it that's so important?
It's a rather interesting article by an old friend of mine. It's to do with anesthetics. It seems he's developed a safer method of delivery for chloroform by combining it with 2 other gases of his own development.
Good for him.
The article was written by Dr. Joseph Richardson. I knew him at St. Bart's.
Good for you. Now that you've interrupted my musicale, I think I'll go for a walk and burn off the rest of my attention. Coming with me?
Go walking in this rain?
I tell you, Watson, if I don't get something to occupy me, you'll wish I were using the strad instead of the needle. Hello. We're having a visitor.
There, you see? There's a diversion. Who is it?
I couldn't tell. A man, young, not well dressed.
Oh, maybe he's calling on Mrs. Hudson, one of her charities.
Most amusing. No, now he's leaving. Must have been a messenger. Yes, there he goes, crossing the street. And Mrs. Hudson is on her way up with it. Hello, Mrs. Hudson. You have something for me, have you? Bring it right up. Ah, a letter? Just hand it to me. Thank you, Mrs. Hudson.
You didn't give her a chance to talk.
She talks enough. It's for you.
Is it? Fancy that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, if this isn't a coincidence...
Well, what is it?
Oh, well, it's the very thing I was just reading about in the Lancet. How incredible. Oh, it's from Dr. Richardson. He's inviting me to observe a major operation using his latest anesthetic technique, and... Oh, good heavens, it's tonight. He wants me to come tonight. And he says, bring your associate, Sherlock Holmes.
Invited to a surgical operation. Where's it to be? Covent Gardens? Tuxes and Tails?
No, it's to be at the home of his patient. Oh, and listen to this. The patient is none other than Lord Holworth of Knight's End.
Holworth? I've seen him. Elephant of a man. He's eating himself to death.
Ah, and Richardson said he's also invited Dr. Gordon Xavier to observe.
The royal physician. My.
Ah, this is astounding. Xavier's been criticizing Richardson's new technique in the Lancet. Holmes, I must take this in. Will you come?
Yes, gentlemen, you are expected. I'll tell Dr. Richardson that you're here.
Thank you.
Lord Holworth has been moved to a bed in his study downstairs to make it more convenient. Dr. Richardson has asked me to show you to the drawing room, which is next to the study. Dr. John H. Watson and Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Watson, welcome. Let me have a look at you. You've scarcely changed since our days at Bart's.
Well, I've added a pound or two.
And Mr. Holmes, I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to meet you.
Will there be anything else, sir?
Not at the moment, Prentice.
Very good, sir.
Now, I'm sure you're wondering why I invited you to witness this surgery, and why I'm doing it here instead of in hospital.
Yes, the question had crossed my mind.
Well, I thought you'd be an ideal witness to the success of my anesthetic process, and if you should care to write it up at some time...
I'm afraid my publishing lately has only been in Strand Magazine. My Sherlock Holmes stories.
Oh, well, I know. I never miss a story about Sherlock Holmes. But your name is better known in England than any other doctor, except for Xavier himself. Lancet would print your comments in an instant.
That's most flattering, but why are you doing the surgery here and not in hospital?
Well, you see, Lord Holworth suffers from a case of morbid obesity, which has brought on a hernia, a tear of the hiatal ring, and this has caused a deformation of his diaphragm and esophagus. I've tried to get him to diet, but to no avail. Surgery is our last resort, and yesterday his condition worsened. That's why I knew I had to operate as soon as possible. And why here? Well, the Royal Medical Society have to issue their stamp of approval, and because of Dr. Xavier, they haven't seen fit to let me demonstrate my process to them. So I can't do it in hospital.
Interesting.
Oh, but I've trained Lord Holworth's own son and daughter to assist me. Elizabeth is a nurse, and a very good one. In fact, we met at St. Bartholomew's. Met and fell in love. Elizabeth has consented to marry me.
Well, congratulations.
And her brother Charles has studied hydraulics, so he very rapidly picked up the skills needed to make the valves that regulate the gas mixture. He's a very meticulous chap. Did most of the work in his shop down cellar.
May I ask, Doctor, why you included me in your invitation?
Because I believe Dr. Xavier may try to make this procedure fail. And if he does, it could cost Lord Holworth a great deal of pain, and possibly his life. Oh, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, may I introduce you to Elizabeth and Charles Holworth?
How do you do, gentlemen?
We heard the doorbell and thought it would be Dr. Xavier.
No, frankly, I'm beginning to doubt if he'll come.
Oh, Joseph, I came to tell you, Father would like a word with you before we begin.
And he wants to meet our guests.
Of course. Tell him we'll be right in.
Well, while you do that, I'll go in the kitchen and check the equipment one more time. Want to be sure everything's right.
Very good. Thank you, Charles. I'll be right in, my dear.
So, Lord Holworth will be your first patient to be administered this new gas of yours.
Combination of gases? Yes. He'll be our first human patient. We've experimented on animals, of course, to learn the proper mixture.
And you think it possible that the royal physician might do something to upset your anaesthetic procedure?
I believe he's entirely capable of it.
But in view of the forces against you, and your new methods, Lord Holworth still wants to go through with the operation.
Lord Holworth is prepared to finance a firm that would produce my new anaesthetics. If this procedure works, as I believe it will, he will invest hundreds of thousands of pounds.
I see. Interesting.
Where will you perform the surgery?
His kitchen is well lit and spacious, and I've equipped it with everything we'll need. So I'm doing it in there. Why don't we visit our patient now, He's keen to meet you both, and we must hurry along.
We walked into a generous-sized study. The regular furniture had been pushed to the wall, and Lord Holworth lay on an oversized bed. He was indeed a ponderous figure.
Well, this is Dr. Watson, yes?
Yes, good evening, Lord Holworth. How are you feeling?
Not well, Doctor. Anxious to get it over with. And then you, sir. You would be Sherlock Holmes, I take it.
I am.
Well, what do you think of all this? Bit unconventional, isn't it? Being carved upon like a great goose in my own kitchen, eh?
I'll be as interested in the outcome as I'm sure you are.
You know, I've lived a good life. Denied myself nothing. I've known every pleasure, best of everything, wine, food, diversions of every kind. You may say that's what's put me in my present condition. Well, I don't regret any of it. So if I shouldn't wake up after Richardson turns off his gas, don't arrest him. That would put a damper on his wedding to my daughter, wouldn't it?
Father, don't even joke about that.
Well, you met my children, Elizabeth and Charles?
Yes, we did.
Good. Now, Mr. Holmes.
Sir?
When a man faces... Well, when he faces what I'm facing, he can't be too careful. What I mean is, it would be most convenient for my political enemies if I were not to survive.
Father.
No. I have the utmost confidence in Richardson. After all, he's going to be my son-in-law. Oh, I requested that he use his new anaesthetic on me. No, Mr. Holmes, my concern is with the Queen's doctor, Gordon Xavier. He represents a bloc in Parliament that wants me out of the picture.
Then why have him here?
When Xavier sees my methods are safe and successful, he'll be forced to drop his objections to them for general use, and countless lives will be saved as a consequence.
And so will be born a business enterprise in which I have a major interest, supplying the gas formula to the surgeons of the world. There'll be money in there, a lot of money.
Excuse me, sir.
What is it, Parsons?
Dr. Gordon Xavier has arrived.
So, he did come after all. All right, show him in.
Yes, sir. I'll bring him right in.
Now, Father, please try to control your temper.
Don't.
If he says anything to upset you...
Elizabeth, don't lecture me. I've dealt with him before. He'd like nothing better than to discredit our anaesthetic, since he won't make a shilling out of it, you see.
You see, Watson, when it comes to medical developments, if Xavier didn't come up with it, it can't be any good.
I see. Greed again.
Yes, precisely that. Well, Mr. Holmes, apart from the enjoyment of meeting such a celebrity as yourself, I want you to be on the watch for anything Gordon Xavier may do to cause this operation to fail.
Well, you're certainly not having him in to watch the surgery.
Don't tell me what I shall or shall not do.
Dr. Xavier.
Come in, Doctor.
Good heavens. Crowd.
Oh, come on in, Xavier. We've been waiting for you.
I do apologize. At the last minute, I was called to consult with Her Majesty.
Nothing serious, I hope?
Thankfully, no, but you know how Her Majesty relies on me. Now, Lord Holworth, it's my duty as royal physician to warn you that any unproven anaesthetic is dangerous. There's nothing wrong with chloroform. I delivered Prince Leopold where the Queen was under chloroform. I only have your best interests at heart.
And so have I. I invited you here so you could witness for yourself the effectiveness of my methods, just as I invited these gentlemen. Let me introduce you. This is Dr. John H. Watson, and this is Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes? You are Sherlock Holmes?
That's correct.
They are here to witness the dawn of a new day for the comfort and safety of surgical patients.
And I am here to save a man's life. I have taken the liberty of reserving an operating suite at St. John's Hospital, Lord Hallworth, and an ambulance can be at your service at a moment's notice.
So tomorrow you can tell the press how you saved my life. Come on, Richardson. Let's get on with it before my stomach explodes.
Richardson, Elizabeth, her brother Charles, Xavier, the royal physician, and Holmes and I crowded into the kitchen, where there was a table in the centre of the room laid out with the surgical instruments on glistening white linen.
You are free to inspect the arrangements, gentlemen, but I must caution you not to touch anything.
A narrow bed was positioned next to the table. At its head were 3 large cylindrical tanks, each with gauges and a bizarre interconnection of tubes. Each tank was fitted with a valve, through which gas would be admitted into a manifold with 3 more valves. Exiting the manifold was a single rubber hose about 3 feet in length, which ended in a curious mask shaped to fit over the patient's nose and mouth.
And just what is in these tanks, Doctor?
I'm reluctant to reveal the formulae for my gases until I secure a patent. But the biological properties, when combined in a particular way, are not dissimilar to those of ether, but without the side effects.
And its chemical properties? I happen to have some passing knowledge of chemistry.
As I say, one of these gases is highly flammable and heavier than air, but perfectly safe when combined with the others, although it is a more complex molecule with both alcoholic and carboxylic groups.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and how is the gas flow maintained?
Well, I can explain that, Doctor. That's my field. You see these valves on the top of each cylinder?
They look like ordinary kitchen water taps.
The same principle, but they are much more finely made. And I've fitted them with special gaskets to prevent the gas from escaping.
May I examine them?
Go ahead, but please be careful.
Let's see. Well, these valves here feed into...
Don't touch them, man, for heaven's sake!
Charles, watch your tongue.
I was just trying to understand the way they're connected. Now, what would happen if there's a leak in one of these valves?
Well...
the tank would blow up, wouldn't it?
Only if there was a spark to ignite it.
But there's no danger of that. My gaskets are made of India rubber. And when the gases are mixed, that removes any danger of flammability. I've taken every precaution. I'm a very prudent man, and after all, the patient is my father.
And you, young woman, what is your job here?
I'll be keeping watch of Father's pulse and respiration during the operation. I am a trained nurse.
A trained nurse, you say?
Her responsibilities are as great as my own. If Lord Hallworth should start to awaken as I operate, Elizabeth will adjust the gas mixture to deepen his slumber. And of course, should his pulse rate and breathing slow down, well, we lighten the mixture.
Dr. Watson, I presume you're acquainted with the risks? There's yet time to take him to a proper operating room, with proper help and proper methods.
You may be the Queen's physician, Xavier, but your ethics are quite doubtful. Lord Hallworth is my patient.
Very well. May the consequences be upon your heads.
I think it would be wise for us to proceed as quickly as possible.
Wait. I want to check all the fittings again. Xavier was handling the valves and the connections. Dr. Richardson, why don't you and Elizabeth go into the study and prepare Father whilst I make sure everything's right?
Good idea, Charles. Come along, Elizabeth. Gentlemen, you may want to wait in the drawing room until we have Lord Hallworth ready for the anaesthesia.
In the drawing room, Holmes looked out the window at the street below and turned away with a wry smile.
Dr. Xavier is still out there in his carriage.
Hoping for failure.
Well, with Hallworth's own 2 children assisting Richardson, I say he couldn't be in better hands.
Everything's ready, John. Lord Hallworth's in our impromptu operating room, sedated and drowsy. Charles has checked the equipment, and Elizabeth and I are ready to begin. So, if you'd care to observe the...
Good heavens!
The kitchen! Come on!
A ball of flame had curled upward from the operating table and scorched the ceiling. The blast had blown the tanks of gas like bombs. But most terrible of all, the blackened body of Lord Hallworth was beyond help. And Elizabeth, who had been blown against a counter in the kitchen, was unconscious, severely burned. It was a sight as bad as any casualties I saw in the service. Richardson saw immediately that he could do nothing for Hallworth, and we both turned our attention to Elizabeth. Charles dashed in, caught sight of his father and sister, and staggered back, stunned. After the fire was out, the police took statements. Holmes remained in the ruined kitchen examining the wreckage. But I took a cab home to Baker Street, where I had 2 brandies to steady my nerves, and then went to bed. When I woke the next morning, Holmes wasn't there, but he left a note saying he would meet me at St. John's Hospital. Elizabeth was swathed in bandages and in a private room. Her brother and Dr. Richardson were there with her, and Richardson stepped away and came over to me.
She has second-degree burns on her face, neck and arms, and a broken shoulder and arm. She'll recover, but she'll never look the same again, and I'm responsible.
Oh, now nonsense. You weren't even in the room. You were with Holmes and me when it happened.
Still, it was my experiment, my project. Now it's killed a man and maimed the girl I love. Charles says he'll never forgive me for what I've done to his family. I wish I were dead.
Oh, there you are. Good morning, Watson. Dr. Richardson.
Holmes, where have you been?
Rather busy, interviewing some of Lord Holworth's staff.
Mr. Holmes, I can't tell you how sorry I am.
You needn't be sorry for anything. How is Miss Holworth?
She has second-degree burns and broken bones. They've given her morphine to help the pain.
Yes, morphine does that quite effectively. Dr. Richardson, there's someone in this hospital who must answer for what happened last night.
Someone besides me, you mean?
I assure you, Doctor, you bear no blame. The explosion was deliberate.
What are you saying?
It was murder.
Are you sure?
Xavier! Yes, it was Xavier. When he was examining the valve system. I knew he'd try to stop me, but I didn't think he'd go this far.
I see Charles in his sister's room. Since he designed the valve system, perhaps he should know what I've found. Can he leave her for a minute?
Of course. I'll go fetch him.
You say you have evidence?
Evidence and a motive. And Charles can cinch this case tightly enough to hand to Scotland Yard on a platter.
Charles?
Yes, he built the system. A young man who will take no risks, who will choose the safe way in any enterprise. What did he call himself? Oh, yes, prudent. Ah, here he comes.
Mr. Holmes. Good of you to come. How are you?
My sincere condolences over the death of your father.
Well, thank you. It's a terrible shock.
I'm sure it must be. How was your sister this morning?
Holding her own, the doctors say. Dr. Richardson said you have some kind of evidence?
Yes, I have.
Evidence that proves Dr. Xavier tampered with the equipment?
No, I'm afraid it won't prove that. But it will prove that the explosion was planned and caused by you.
Is this your idea of humour, Mr. Holmes?
I know what caused the explosion, and I know why it was done. You may remember that right after the blast, I did my own investigation. I was looking for something that shouldn't be there in the kitchen, and I found it.
What's that you have?
It's a narrow 3-inch strip of abrasive cloth. It was wrapped round the valve on a tank of gas in such a way that when the valve was turned and the volatile gas leaked out, the grit on the cloth caused a spark that blew it up. It survived the explosion and was still tightly secured around the neck of the valve where I found it.
That's preposterous. There couldn't have been a leak.
I never saw it there.
No, because it wasn't there until Charles installed it when he was supposedly checking the fittings a few minutes before the blast. The same time he put a slit in the rubber gasket.
What absolute rot! My father is dead. My sister is horribly injured. And you say I did it?
I think you've made a terrible mistake.
I think not. I've spent the morning speaking with the Holworth legal firm. Lord Holworth was preparing to strip his bank account, against the advice of his bankers and his barristers, to invest his fortune in business with you, Dr. Richardson. And that would have drained away the money Charles had expected to inherit one day.
This is an outrage!
Lord Holworth believed in my process. We named it the Holworth-Richardson system. He literally staked his life on it.
But if he died before he could invest the money, and if Elizabeth were also dead, the Holworth estate would remain intact for Charles to inherit.
But the Holworth-Richardson anesthetic would have made many more millions for Lord Holworth.
If the operation was a success. But that was a chance Charles Holworth didn't care to take. His butler, the household staff, and even his barrister told me that Charles was frequently at odds with his father and his sister. The invention gave him a perfect way to do away with them both, and profit by it.
Household. They've always been against me. I don't care how famous you may be, you can't prove a thing.
But your sister is still alive, and will be able to testify. I would advise you to keep a close watch over her, Dr. Richardson, until Scotland Yard arrives.
And when the case came to the assizes, not only was Charles Holworth indicted, but the Honourable Gordon Xavier, the royal physician, was called upon to testify as to his interest in keeping the Holworth-Richardson anesthetic off the market. He wasn't charged with any crime, but his association with the murder of Lord Holworth damaged his career, and soon he was replaced by the Crown.
The Strange Case of Lord Holworth's Kitchen was written by Gareth Tilley and Jim French, and featured John Patrick Lowry as Sherlock Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson. Also in our cast were John Armstrong, Catherine Shield, Dennis Bateman, Jim French, and Douglas Young. The characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and were used in books and stories by him. The use of these characters in this radio series is by arrangement with the estate of Dame Jean Conan Doyle. This is Dennis Bateman speaking.
And this is Dr. John H. Watson. I hope you've enjoyed this story, and I'll have another one for you when next we meet.
Oh, Tabby! Tabby! The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes with John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson.
My name is Dr. John H. Watson, and the story I'm about to relate occurred in the summer of 1901. It was a curious case from beginning to end, one which bore no similarity to anything Sherlock Holmes had investigated before. It began on a quiet morning in our lodgings at 221B. I was enjoying some diverting readings when Holmes returned after being out since an early hour on a case involving the notorious missing son of Lady Evelyn Chadwick.
Hello, Watson.
Did you find the young lord?
Oh, yes, a trifling affair. He was in Limehouse, tried to stow away on a ship bound for South Africa. He had a romantic notion about joining in the Boer War.
Romantic notion. I had my taste of war, and there was nothing romantic about it.
Indeed. The idea was put in his head by those cheap penny novels, of which I found several in his room. And what's that you're reading? No doubt something intellectually stimulating.
It's called Haiti or the Black Republic, and it's all about voodoo, witch doctors, and black magic.
Really, Watson? Black magic? I expected more of you.
Yes, well, I found it on your bookshelf.
Ah, you did. There are times when I find it prudent to be in possession of arcane knowledge. One should be aware of the myths and legends people cling to.
But this voodoo business, just superstition, pure mumbo-jumbo. I almost forgot. A telegram came for you first thing this morning. Sorry. Here it is.
Upon my word. Have you read this, Watson?
Of course not. It's addressed to you.
You don't know what this wire is about?
No.
Listen to this. Urgently need your help. 2 Oxford professors suffering voodoo curse. Believe foul play involved. Doctors no help. Awaiting reply at the Oxfordshire Telegraph. Signed Miles Seymour.
Voodoo curse. Let me see that. This is amazing.
Mrs. Hudson!
We rode beside the Thames through unspoilt country, dozing in the golden summer afternoon. At last, the train stopped at a station in the Cotswold Hills.
Excuse me, would you be Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson?
Indeed, and you would be Mr. Seymour?
Yes, Miles Seymour. Thank you both for coming. I know you think this is madness, and frankly, so do I. But I've been a student of these 2 professors, and I've come to think highly of them. And to see this happening to them, to men of such intelligence, I could only think of one thing. Sherlock Holmes could get to the bottom of this. Please come this way. I have a trap waiting.
Do they know you've sent for us?
It was my idea, but yes, they know. Professor Tarrington, he's the senior of the 2, is terribly depressed. When I told him I'd wired you, he shrugged and said that his fate couldn't be changed by a detective. And Professor Collingwood feels the same. He's convinced nothing can cure his withered hand.
Oh? He has a withered hand?
It started coming on him during the voyage back from Port-au-Prince. At the same time, Professor Tarrington began to feel ill. Now, you must understand, these are intelligent, learned men, Mr. Holmes. They're not gullible people. But you can see at a glance that they're... here's the trap. Let me help you up. All right, we're off. It's not far.
You must tell me all you can about these men. You said you were a student of theirs?
Yes. Professor Tarrington has been head of anthropology at Oxford for years and years. I took my degree under him. Mr. Collingwood is younger, being teaching there somewhat less time. In fact, he was also a student under the professor. Top of his class, so I'm told.
And now you're employed by Professor Tarrington?
I've become sort of a jack of all trades, you might say.
I see. Does the professor live on campus?
Oh, no, he lives where we're going, his estate. Well, it's not an estate anymore. He has only about 2 acres left, a comfortable old cottage, a stable, and a small garden.
And where do you live?
There are rooms over the stable.
I believe your wire mentioned the men had seen a doctor about these symptoms of theirs.
Yes, as soon as they got off the boat from Haiti. Professor Tarrington was given some pills for anemia, but Professor Collingwood was diagnosed as having acute joint inflammation or something like it, and they couldn't give him anything. If you ask me, the doctor thought they were malingering.
Shortly, we turned into a break in the hedgerow and pulled to a stop in front of a thatched-roofed cottage, and in we went. In the study sat a white-haired man. He had several days' stubble of beard, a shawl round his shoulders, and both of his bony hands grasped the handle of a cane on which he leaned forward anxiously.
Professor Tarrington, our guests have arrived, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Professor Tarrington?
Welcome to my home, such as it is.
I am Sherlock Holmes, and this is my colleague, Dr. John H. Watson.
How do you do, Professor?
How do I do? Not well. Not well at all. You're a doctor, you say? What do you know about voodoo, Doctor?
Yeah, I've only read about it. Frankly, I doubt its existence.
Oh, it exists. I'm the living proof of it. Or the dying proof. Your question should be, does voodoo really have power? And I'm very much afraid that it does, although, like you, I never used to believe that. And I don't want to believe it now. How much has Seymour told you?
I've told him everything I knew.
What is your present condition, Professor? How do you feel?
Well, I'm suffering from a disorder that robs me of my energy, and it gets worse every day. A weakness of the blood. I cut myself by accident Monday, and the wound bled all day. My blood's getting as thin as water.
And what makes you think this has something to do with a curse?
Because until I went to Haiti, the only thing that's ever been wrong with me was a slight murmur of the heart.
And what happened in Haiti?
My associate and I were cursed by a voodoo witch doctor. Here comes Sebastian. Sebastian Collingwood, meet Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Mr. Collingwood?
Yes, gentlemen. Good of you to come. Please pardon my left hand. The right one is no good any longer.
Excuse me, Mr. Collingwood. Do you mind if I have a look at it?
Yes, look all you want.
How long have your fingers been curled like this?
It started on the ship.
The ship back from Haiti?
Actually, the first night out, when we got our first letter.
The letter M, the first of the 4 fatal letters. That was when my energy began to leave me as well.
If I try to gently bend your fingers back to normal...
No. Don't do that. They're paralyzed.
I'm sorry.
The joints are frozen and they get worse every day.
It's like arthritis. But arthritis comes on gradually. I've never heard of it striking all at once.
No, this began a minute after we got the first letter.
Now, if I am to be of any help, you must tell us everything that happened, in the order that it happened, and leave out no detail, however unimportant it may seem.
Beginning when?
Beginning with your first experience with voodoo.
You begin, Paddington.
Very well. Professor Collingwood and I were collaborating on a paper exploring the various religions stemming from Africa, from the Egyptians right through to the present day. And so early this summer we sailed to Haiti and landed in Port-au-Prince.
As you may know, Haiti is officially a Roman Catholic, but we found voodooism being practiced rather widely.
A mixture of certain Catholic practices blended with pagan rituals. Rituals involving things such as, well, as that mask you see there on my desk.
Yes, I've been looking at it. Gruesome thing.
Yes, it represents the Chien Noir, or Black Dog.
And the natives are terrified of it. Well, how we obtained it was, we hired a native guide. There was no doubt that he was an outcast from the voodoo cult. He promised to take us to a voodoo ceremony. But days went by, and he had one excuse after another.
He took us round to meet some voodoo cult members, but they didn't tell us much at all.
So we demanded that he take us to one of their voodoo rituals.
I said, do what we're hiring you to do, or you won't see another penny. So, the next night, just at midnight, he took us into the forest, and that's what sealed his fate.
And our own.
What do you mean?
He took us to where we could hide and watch what took place around a fire in a clearing. We had no sooner taken up our positions when the witch doctor himself spotted us, and the entire group of natives set upon us. Now, I've never run so fast in my life. I thought my heart would burst.
We managed to get back to town, but the guide wasn't so fortunate. The next day, they found his body, with a note pinned to it. A note meant for us. We have it here. Do either of you read French?
Never mind, I'll read it. Roughly translated, it says, For crimes against the Chien Noir, you are cursed. You will be visited by the devil himself, who will deliver to you the letters from the word mort. Each letter will weaken you, and when you have received the last letter, you shall die.
Mort is the French word for death.
Yes, and how did you come to see this note?
The police brought it to us, questioned us for some time.
Did they know how he died?
By a curse.
No, I mean with a weapon.
No, his life was simply taken.
It's nothing new to the authorities in Haiti. Happens all the time.
I see. What did you do after that?
Well, since we could do no more research, we booked passage home on the first available ship. But the next ship out of Port-au-Prince was nearly 2 weeks off, so we stayed in our hotel room.
The entire time?
Yes, living like prisoners.
And did anything happen to you after that?
Nothing until the first night we were on the ship. That's when we received the letter M.
It was brought to our table on a serviette. The serviette was folded over, and when we unfolded it, there was the letter M, drawn in blood.
Who brought it to your table?
The waiter. He said a native fellow gave it to him and told him to give it to us. We asked him who he was, but he said he'd never seen him before and he didn't belong in first class anyway.
We complained to the captain, and he had the purser search the entire ship, to no avail.
But we knew they wouldn't find him because, you see, he wasn't of this earth.
Come, Mr. Collingwood.
I'm afraid he's right. We were in the middle of the ocean. The man appeared, delivered his message, and disappeared. Voodoo priests can leave their bodies through their T-bon ange, their little guardian angel, and travel through the spirit world to wherever you like.
No, you don't actually believe such things, do you, Professor?
I know that before we finished our dinner, I was getting ill. I had nausea, heart palpitations.
And my fingers started going stiff.
And the symptoms were still with us until the second letter appeared. And then they got worse.
Holmes and I sat in the gloomy study of Professor Teddington's house in Oxfordshire as he and Professor Collingwood related the events that convinced them that they'd been struck with a voodoo curse.
Now, the warning note from the witch doctor said you would receive an added curse for each of the 4 letters in the French word for death, mort. Have you received any more since the first one?
Oh, yes, indeed. After we docked and we got into a carriage at Tilbury, there on the inside of the door was marked a letter O, 6 inches in diameter.
Marked how?
Chalk, wouldn't you say?
Yes, chalk. Fresh as if it had just been done.
Did either of you ask the driver about it?
He didn't know a thing.
And how did that discovery make you feel?
For a moment I couldn't breathe. My head swam.
And my fingers ached so ferociously I wanted to slam the door on them.
Has the third curse happened?
Oh, indeed it has. And we all saw it, including Seymour.
What was it?
Yesterday, I made a pot of tea. I made it in the usual way, pouring scalding water over the leaves. I let it steep. Then I set out the cups and poured the tea. We sat about having our tea and biscuits, and then I went back to the kitchen to bring in the teapot, and I saw it. On the sink, right beside the stove, the letter R had been spelled out in tea leaves, a huge letter R.
It's true, I did see it.
Who'd been in the kitchen while you were having your tea?
No one.
No one living.
What did you do with it?
I wiped it away as fast as I could.
But the moment I saw it, I had to come in here and sit down. My heart was hammering so. I've barely stirred from this chair since then, except for the necessities. I'm ashamed to admit it, Mr. Holmes, but I'm afraid to go to sleep for fear of what I might dream.
Have there been any further warnings since then?
No, but we're on tenterhooks waiting for the letter T to appear, and when it does...
Gentlemen, may I speak frankly?
Certainly.
I know what you're going to say. It's all in our minds.
Precisely.
Then how do you explain the death of our guide? It was not in our minds, sir. That happened to a man who defied the voodoo curse, and it cost him his life. And what about the letters of death? On the serviette, the door, the sink, we saw them.
If these events are caused by a spirit and not by man, I can do nothing. Sherlock Holmes has met his master at last.
Of course, we know that. Seymour shouldn't have wired you. We shouldn't be wasting your time. We're beyond mortal help. Sebastian, I should have gone to Haiti alone. I shouldn't have led you into this. I'm old. I've lived my life. But you're still a young man.
Stop it, man. Stop it. Working beside you has been the acme of my ambition. If I must die, well...
Gentlemen, before you resign yourselves to the devil and his works, I have one last idea.
What?
Is there an inn nearby?
Yes, sir, there is. The Flaming Oak. Just the other side of the railway crossing. It's not too expensive, and they set a good table.
That's fine. Then, Professor Collingwood, may I impose upon you to take a room there tonight?
Me? Why do you want me to leave here?
Because I want to separate you and Professor Terrington. From what you've told us, all 3 of these voodoo warnings have occurred when the 2 of you were together.
Yes, that's true, but I don't see
will be at your side at the inn until you retire for the night, and Dr. Watson will be here, watching over Professor Terrington.
And where do you want me to be, Mr. Holmes?
You are obviously not a target, Mr. Seymour, so you may spend the night in your quarters above the stable.
I'll be glad to help in any way I can.
We will need you to drive us to the inn. Now, Professor Collingwood, if you will please pack for an overnight stay.
You know, there may not be any vacancies at the inn this time of year, what with the summer holidays.
Oh, but there's the Prince Michael Inn just a mile farther down the road.
Now, Mr. Holmes, you want me to stay here?
Yes, you'll stay right here in your own house.
Oh, well, that's a relief.
And Dr. Watson will stay here with you. A better doctor and a braver man I've never known. Now, while you pack, Professor Collingwood, I have some instructions for Watson. Step outside with me for a minute, will you, Watson?
Certainly.
I don't expect trouble tonight, but be very, very watchful.
It's Seymour, isn't it?
Nothing is certain. We'll both have to be prepared. Here is what I want you to do. I want you to prepare the professor's supper for him. Make his food. Brew his tea. If he wants wine, open a new bottle. Observe him as a physician. I'll be doing the same with Collingwood. This house has no telephone, so you'll be on your own.
Leave it to me, Holmes.
I shall, old friend. I shall.
Seymour brought the trap round to the front, and Holmes and Collingwood got in and drove off. I went back inside. Professor Terrington rose from his chair and took my arm. His hand was shaking.
It's a comfort to have you here, Doctor, whatever my fate is to be.
I'm sure there's a logical explanation for the things that have happened to you, and Holmes will find it.
I hope you're right. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's time for my pills.
Which pills are those?
Oh, my regular medicine, for my heart and my nerves.
Have you taken them a long time?
Yes.
Ah.
I suppose you're wondering if I'm being drugged, if that's what's making me tremble. No, the tremors began just after the first of the voodoo warnings came.
In your hotel in Port-au-Prince?
Yes.
How long did they last?
They haven't left me since.
May I get your pills for you?
Oh, no, I'll get them. I keep them in the nightstand beside my bed.
Why don't I get them?
Oh, all right. The top drawer in the white envelope. I'll get a glass of water.
I walked into the professor's bedroom. Like the other rooms, it was small and filled with old-fashioned furniture. There was the nightstand. The drawer was filled with miscellany, pencils, scraps of paper, pairs of spectacles, and on top a pharmacist's envelope, 3 by 4 inches, with heart medicine written on its face. I opened the envelope and shook a few of the tablets into my hand. They were greyish-blue in colour, a 1/4 inch in diameter, and half that in thickness. I took one and crushed it into powder between my thumbnails, then licked the powder. It had a distinctive, bitter taste. Professor Terrington, where did you get these tablets?
My doctor prescribed them.
What did he say they would do?
Slow my heartbeat and make me calmer.
And you took them with you on your trip to Haiti?
Well, of course, I have to take them every day.
And did they do you any good?
Oh, they used to. But I think I was so scared when the voodoo curse was cast.
Oh, blast it, man! Forget the curse! There was no curse! There is no curse!
Now, just a minute, Doctor. You weren't there with me in Haiti. A man was killed. His killer left a note. The note was for me and Collingwood. My heart turned over in my breast when I read it. I felt faint.
And you took a pill to calm yourself?
Yes.
But immediately you felt worse?
Yes.
And you've been nervous and aware of your fast heartbeat ever since?
Yes. What are you telling me?
I'm telling you that these pills are meant to do exactly the opposite from what you want them to. They're a compound made from the purple foxglove plant. It's called digitalis, and too much of it can kill you.
Good morning, Watson. And good morning, Professor Terrington. Did you sleep well?
Good morning, Mr. Holmes. And Seymour, lovely morning.
That it is, Professor. Why, you're looking very well this morning.
Oh, yes, I'm feeling much better. Where's Collingwood?
Professor Collingwood decided to go back to his digs at Oxford. He had a rather poor night.
A poor night? What do you mean?
I'll put the horse away and be right back.
No, Mr. Seymour. We'll be needing you to drive us back to the railway station immediately to catch the train for London.
But what about Collingwood?
Well, last night his crippled hand was cured. It became perfectly normal, and has been ever since.
No, not really.
Oh, yes.
But you said he had a poor night. What happened?
Oh, I think he'll want to tell you about it himself. Let's pack, Watson.
Sir Holmes, I convinced Terrington that someone was trying to make him ill, perhaps even trying to kill him. And that was when he realized that one person had a good reason to want him out of the way.
Collingwood.
Yes, Collingwood. He stands to take over as head of the anthropology department. And I don't think Terrington quite believes Collingwood plotted this whole charade.
A constable should be coming round to show him the supply of digitalis he found this morning in Collingwood's shaving kit. Then Terrington can decide whether to press charges or let him go.
But how did you find out Collingwood was pretending to be cursed?
Oh, I waited until he was fast asleep, and then I walked into his room. There are no locks on the doors at that inn, and simply looked at his right hand.
And it wasn't clenched?
No. It was resting in peaceful repose on the blanket, just like his left one. Of course, I woke him and told him the game was up and asked him to explain about the death of the guide, which never happened, and the bloody M on the serviette and the O on the carriage door. He agreed to tell me how he arranged those tricks in return for my not calling the authorities. And, of course, he didn't even know yet that you'd found out he'd been drugging Professor Terrington.
The Adventure of the Voodoo Curse was written and directed by Jim French from a story by Gareth Tilley. John Patrick Lowry played Sherlock Holmes and Lawrence Albert was Dr. Watson. Also in our cast was Stephen Waite, Frank Buxton, and myself, Dennis Bateman. The violinist was Coral Sepulveda. The characters of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson were created by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and appear in stories and novels by him. The use of these characters in this radio series is by special arrangement with the estate of Dame Jean Conan Doyle. This is Dennis Bateman.
And this is Dr. John H. Watson again. I've shared many more adventures with Sherlock Holmes over the years, and I'll be happy to tell you another one when next we meet.
Oh, Tabby! Tabby!
The Further Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, featuring John Patrick Lowry as Holmes and Lawrence Albert as Dr. Watson.
My name is Dr. John H. Watson. Tonight, I'm going to reveal how Sherlock Holmes solved a crime that was shrouded in the greatest of secrecy for reasons that will soon become apparent. In fact, I wasn't permitted to write down my usual notes as I accompanied Holmes on his investigation, and I am only now at liberty to release the facts as I recall them, because the period of danger is now past and the guilty parties have been dealt with. We first heard of the situation when Holmes received an urgent message from his older brother Mycroft, a brilliant but secretive servant of the Crown. So, on a morning in early May, in the year 1888, Holmes and I took a cab round to Mycroft's lodgings in Pall Mall.
Good morning, Sherlock. Doctor?
Good morning, Mr. Holmes.
Now, what is this urgent business you called about, Mycroft? I was in the midst of an important experiment that should produce the means to recover traces of blood that are invisible to the naked eye. It will revolutionize crime detection.
Which explains your bandaged fingers. You must have been using your own blood.
He was sticking his fingertips with a penknife until I took over and sterilized the wounds, over his strenuous objections.
I only use the fingers of my left hand, and I'm ambidextrous. Now, what do you have for me, Mycroft?
This.
What's this money for?
For your birthday. I couldn't think of what to buy you, so I thought I'd just give you a £10 note.
We don't exchange presents, and it's not my birthday.
Oh, well then, give it back.
Here.
Thank you.
Now, why did you do that? Let me see that note again. Is it counterfeit?
Yes.
It certainly looks genuine. It even feels genuine.
This is the cleverest imitation of banknote paper we've ever seen. Only the watermark is flawed, and the color of the ink is a different sort of black. But counterfeit bills are turning up from here to Bristol and now in New York City as well.
Tell me the details.
Last week, the cashier at a bank in Reading was binding a stack of £10 notes for shipment to London when he saw this one and thought the printing looked a little paler than it should. He put it to the light and saw the watermark wasn't quite right. Then he went through every £10 note the bank had in its vault and was able to find 7 others like it. Since then, 12 more of them have turned up between London and Bristol, but there's no telling how many other fakes are in circulation.
London to Bristol, all along the Great Western Railroad line?
So far. But we think these notes were a trial run, and probably there are hundreds of others that haven't been detected. Because Scotland Yard have compared all the fake notes under a microscope and they are precisely identical, this looks like a major attack on the integrity of the British pound.
So, what's the Yard doing about it?
Interrogating anyone they find passing a bogus note. We've sent men into every printing plant we can find.
And?
So far, we've turned up nothing. Dr. Watson.
Yes?
Please put down your pencil. You mustn't write down a single word of this.
Well, my notes are always kept private from anyone.
Not a single word.
Holmes took the counterfeit note, and we hurried back to Baker Street, where he swept aside the experiment he'd been working on and took his microscope from its case.
The implications are fairly grim, Watson. If enough of these counterfeit banknotes are circulated, over time they will debase the soundness of the pound against all the world's currencies. Get me a new paraffin wick, will you? There's some in my collar drawer.
Your collar drawer?
The drawer in my bureau where I keep my collars. And you can see why the public mustn't be told of this, or there could be a run on gold, which could cause a financial panic if it's not stopped. Pity they don't hang counterfeiters anymore.
Well, where in your collar drawer? I don't see any.
The back right-hand corner.
Back right-hand corner. Kendall's in with his collars. Ah,
I found one.
This is truly a remarkable piece of work. Undetectable unless you're looking for the differences.
What do you expect to find under the microscope?
The difference in the makeup of the paper.
Here's your candle.
Good.
Is there anything I can do?
Yes. Give me one of your pound notes.
Well, you're not going to burn it.
I'm going to light the paraffin wick to give me light for my microscope.
Oh, of course.
And then I may burn it.
Why?
Different fibers burn in different ways. The color of the flame will suggest the content of the paper.
I handed over a £5 note from my wallet, from which Holmes snipped a sample. Then he did the same with the counterfeit bill. These he clamped side by side under glass and slid them beneath the lens. There followed 2 or 3 minutes of absolute silence while he turned the samples this way and that. Then, at last...
Watson.
Yes?
Go to the bank and bring me a fresh, brand-new banknote. Make sure it came straight out of the printing plant at Essex. Have them put it in an envelope. Don't handle it. And hurry back.
I hurried out and did as I was told, and within half an hour I was back with a fresh pound note, which Holmes snatched out of my hand and passed under his nose. He'd put on a pair of white cotton gloves, with which he folded and squeezed the note, and then sniffed it again and again.
A musky odour. Bleach, machine oil, and... what is it? Salt, iodine, seaweed, sulphur. A touch of sulphur, yes. Now the counterfeit one. Ah, yes, slightly different. Machine oil, something floral, something sweet, organic, musty. It has a distinctive smell. Yes.
Yes? Well, do you have something?
I think so. Quick, Watson, a match. I've run out.
A match? Oh, here.
Now, we light the real banknote.
That's a £5 note you're burning up there. A good week's wages for a working man.
Look at the flames. This one, yellow and blue. Now we light the counterfeit. Good. Ah, you see, yellow and orange, and no blue.
Well, what does that tell you?
Watson, we're going to do some travelling about. Pack warm clothes, and you might bring a pistol. The small one will do.
Where are we going?
Into the country. What time is it? Just past noon. And this is Thursday. There's a train west from Paddington at 1:10.
The mind of Sherlock Holmes is like a railway engine. When its steam is up, nothing will stop it, and it leaps ahead, leaving everything else behind. And so it was on that day, with Holmes leaving me in his smoke as he darted about the flat collecting things to put in his travelling bag. In half an hour we were at Paddington Station, paying for first class, and only as the train pulled out did he sit back against the cushion and close his eyes.
There will be nothing to see until we're into the countryside, so take 15 minutes and get some rest. You may need it.
And then, with a faint smile on his lips, he was asleep. Holmes has the uncanny ability to ignore the normal daily cycles of life. I've known him to go 48 hours without sleep when he was on a case, and I've also known him to drop off to sleep without warning and awaken a few minutes later completely refreshed. And such was the case on this trip. After a quarter hour spent absolutely still, he opened his eyes and began speaking as if he was continuing a conversation.
Now, to answer your unspoken questions, As you'll recall, Mycroft said these counterfeit notes have been turning up in a swath between London and Bristol. It's reasonable to suppose, then, that they're being produced somewhere in the same district, the district we're passing through at the moment.
Well, it's a place to start. But that's 40 miles at least and more than a dozen towns. How do you plan to find the printing plant?
First, by finding the source of the raw materials. The tests I did on the counterfeit banknote show it's made of a mixture of materials slightly different from the genuine. Our man uses cotton fibre and linen to give the right texture. Well, the flax to make linen is common enough around here, but cotton isn't grown much in England. Our climate's too cold. We're leaving the outskirts of West Ealing, so I'm going to stand out in the corridor so I can look out the left-hand windows while you look out of the right.
What will we be looking for?
Cotton!
We were on a local which stopped at Southall, Hayes, Harlington, Drayton, one village after another. I was wondering how Holmes could learn anything from each little town. So, when we halted at Burnham, I stepped into the corridor. Holmes was chatting with a guard a few yards forward, and then he came back to our door, to our compartment, looking oddly cheerful.
See anything on your side of the carriage?
Yeah, nothing unusual. Of course, if I knew what I was
Never mind. I've seen an interesting place I want to go back to.
Really?
And I struck up a conversation with that guard, a Mr. Denton. Did you know they call guards conductors on American railways?
No, I didn't.
Yes, I found Mr. Denton very informative. At any rate, when we reach Reading, we'll get off, so have your things ready.
At Reading, we stopped at a likely-looking hotel to book a room. The rate was 6 shillings for a night for a 2-bed room, but Holmes handed the innkeeper a £10 note, which he refused.
Have you anything smaller than this, sir?
I don't think so. Watson?
I have some 1s and 5s.
I'd appreciate it, sir. Anything but a pen.
Running low on change, are you?
It's not that. It's the counterfeit. There's some bad £10 notes going round. Oh, no offence, sir, but one can't be too careful. You can't tell the bad ones from the good. Me, I'm not taking any more £10 notes till they find the blighter who's printing the bad stuff.
Very interesting. And are the other merchants in town doing the same?
That they are. You'll find it hard to spend a £10 banknote anywhere in Reading. I suppose Scotland Yard's trying to find who's making them. But if it was me who was in charge, I know what I'd do. I'd call on Sherlock Holmes. You know about Sherlock Holmes?
I seem to recall seeing the name.
Now there's a fella could pinch the bad boys in a week.
How do you know about Sherlock Holmes?
They write about him in the Strand.
Well, here's a £1 note.
Much obliged, sir. Here you are, sir. 8 shillings your change. And would you be so kind as to sign the register book, sir? And I'll call the bellboy to take your bag. Sign right there, if you would, please, sir. Thank you, sir. And now you, sir?
Sign there under my name, Tom.
Huh? Yes. Oh, yes, I see. There you are.
Very good. Misters Sherringford Bell and Thomas Hudson. I hope you have a pleasant stay, gentlemen. Here, boy, take these to room 14.
Right, follow me, gentlemen.
Sherringford Bell.
Well, you cleverly borrowed Mrs. Hudson's name.
Well, it was all I could think of. I'm not used to making things up on the spur of the moment.
Well, I'm sure she'd forgive you.
Here we are, gentlemen. Room 14, nice and handy to the lobby.
And this is for you.
Ta.
Well, Mycroft would be disappointed to know that the secret is out. But in a way, it'll make our job a bit easier.
I don't see how.
If the townspeople are alert to the bogus money, the criminals won't be passing much more of it around here for a good while.
Well, then we've come here for nothing.
Not at all. Wherever it's being made, it has to be shipped out to the rest of the country. And now that the locals are onto them, the counterfeiters will have to ship their product a greater distance before putting it into the open market. Reading is not only on the railway, it's centrally located between Bristol to the west and London to the east, an ideal loading site.
It's a shot in the dark, Holmes. How are we going to find one suitcase filled with bogus money being carried on the train?
If there's any one thing I've tried to teach you over the years, Watson, it's observation. In the next days, we'll see a very great deal. 99% of what we see will be useless to us, but if we're observant, the remaining 1% may lead us to the culprit.
Well, at this point, I must confess I had very little confidence that we'd ever find the counterfeiters. A house-to-house search was out of the question. Unless we caught someone in the act of actually making or distributing the bogus banknotes, it seemed a hopeless task. For once, I was relieved I wouldn't be writing this case, for I was sure it was doomed to failure. But once again, I had underestimated my friend's reasoning power. Holmes and I did absolutely nothing other than relax in a pleasant old pub where we took our supper that evening. At closing time, we returned to our room at the hotel. I found myself exhausted after a busy day and a heavy meal, but Holmes sat on the edge of his bed and talked excitedly while I got into my nightclothes.
Why hadn't it occurred to me that in this modest town only a few people would ever see a £10 banknote?
Well, if that's the case, any £10 banknote would attract some notice.
Precisely. So in the morning, you and I will split up, and I need you to go into every shop of any size and ask the shopkeepers if someone's tried to pass a £10 note in the past week or so. Get his description and the day and time he appeared.
And that's just what we did the next morning. I set out into Reading, visiting shop after shop until I'd spoken with the proprietors of 15 establishments. Then, at about 1 in the afternoon, I met Holmes back at our room.
Well, Watson, what were you able to find?
I visited 15 shops altogether. 5 of them said they remembered a man trying to cash a £10 note.
Cash it? He didn't try to buy something with it?
That's right. He just wanted to change it into smaller notes.
And?
One of the proprietors said the man had a number of new-looking bills in his wallet, and only one of the shops accommodated his request and took the note. The rest of them declined.
And the £10 note?
Was put into circulation.
And the man's description?
Well, on most points, all 5 places agreed. He was medium height, about my height, they said. He had dark hair, longish sideburns, a thick black moustache, and a nose that appeared to have been broken. Most of them said he had a stocky, muscular build, and none of them knew him. None of them had ever seen him before.
And his speaking voice?
2 of the shopkeepers said he had a London accent, probably Cockney.
And the day and hour he appeared?
It was mid-afternoon on a Friday a fortnight ago. Some said around 3 p.m.
Capital, Watson. Let's go have lunch. You must be starved.
And so we went back to the same pub where we'd eaten the night before, and over steak and kidney pie, Holmes told me what he'd been doing during the morning and outlined his plan for the rest of the investigation. It involved a complete change of clothes for us both, and the hiring of a common Welsh lawn cart, a crude open cart made for hauling produce from the fields. We set off eastward toward Twyford, on a road paralleling the rail line, looking like farmers coming back from market. There was a brisk wind blowing.
Just over this hill, we should find a substantial old farmstead that I glimpsed from the train, and unless I am very much mistaken, I think we'll have to look no farther.
And in 5 minutes we bore to the right and headed up a lane to the house set in a grove of trees. Nearby was a barn. We drove past a greenhouse and left the horse and cart behind the barn, out of sight of the house.
Yes, this is the place.
What makes you so sure?
The weather vane atop the barn. Do you notice anything unusual about it?
Well, it's made in the silhouette of a rooster. Quite a common style.
And nothing more?
Nothing more. I'm dashed if I know what you're getting at.
Never mind. We're going into the barn.
The door was standing ajar. Inside, by the entrance, a horse was stabled. We stood quietly, listening for anyone stirring, but the horse settled down and we heard nothing more. Holmes spied a ladder nailed to the wall, and he sprang to the bottom rung and silently climbed up and out of sight. I could hear him walking to the other end of the loft. In 2 or 3 minutes, he walked back again.
We're alone for the moment, so climb up here.
All right. What did you find?
2 very interesting things. Come here. The breeze outside is fickle and gusty, but the weather vane on this barn isn't moving, and here's why. You see this iron rod hanging down from the cupola? Look up.
Oh, yes, it goes right through to the outside.
It's fixed to the weather vane, so that it can be turned in any direction by turning this handle on the end of it. I just tried it. See? It's a signalling device. Now I know what the guard was looking at on the train yesterday. I saw him staring out of the window with a pair of opera glasses as we passed this farm. Then he quickly folded them and put them away in his pocket.
The chap named Denton?
Yes. I wondered why a guard who rides this same train every day would need binoculars for scenery he must have seen 100 times. I thought he might have been watching for a certain person, but there wasn't a soul in sight. Then I saw that the weather vane on this barn was motionless and pointing in the wrong direction. All the others in the district were pointing west. This one was pointing north, as it is today. So it was either stuck, or it was a signal.
Clever. But why do you think that would link it to the printing of counterfeit?
Don't you remember the shopkeeper's description of the man who was passing £10 notes in Reading? They could have been describing the guard on the train at Denton.
No, Holmes, that description also fits hundreds of other men.
And his day off is Friday, the day the man was seen in Reading.
How do you know that?
I wired Great Western's personnel office in London while you were interviewing shopkeepers. They told me Denton doesn't work Fridays. They also told me he used his pass 2 weeks ago Friday.
And today is Friday.
And I expect at any minute he'll arrive to pick up a bundle of fake money which was printed on paper made here, in this barn. Look.
What's this? It's an iron kettle.
Sitting on a grate with a flue that extends out through the back wall for boiling the flax to make the linen. And if you'll notice what else is on the floor besides all this flax we've been treading on...
It's cotton. Floss of cotton.
Grown in the farmer's greenhouse.
But where's the printing press?
Where else? The farmhouse.
Should we try to get a look inside?
We know it's occupied by at least one person. Remember the horse in the stall below.
So, what's our move?
You stay here in the loft with your pistol. I'm going to take the little horse cart to the railway switching station we passed less than a mile up the plates and ask the switcher to telegraph the Reading police.
And in another hour, the police, together with Sherlock Holmes, did arrive at the farm, where they located the printing press in the basement, arrested the printer and engraver, and when Denton arrived to pick up a bundle of bogus money, he was arrested as well. Of course, Scotland Yard put an embargo on the entire matter. Back in London, in Mycroft Holmes's suite in Pall Mall, Holmes and I were greeted by his brother, who was in a congratulatory mood.
I knew you could do it, Sherlock.
Don't forget Watson. His canvassing of Reading's shopkeepers gave us the description of the railway guard and helped me break the case.
Yes, indeed, Doctor. I'm only sorry that the Crown cannot acknowledge your enormous contribution with some sort of recognition.
Well, that's not at all necessary, I assure you. But I only hope that at some time in the future I may be permitted to write this all up.
Someday, but not soon, Doctor. You see, we have no idea how many hundreds or thousands of bogus £10 notes are in circulation. So the Bank of England will just have to honor them as legal currency, although their existence will diminish the true value of the pound. So, not a word must get out until I say so.
The mystery of the £10 note